So what is your name and what year were you born in?
My name is Charles A. Yance. I'm the grandfather of Shelby Nelson. I was born on November the 17th, 1920.
Were you involved in World War II? If so, can you please explain that for me?
Yes, ma'am. I was drafted, and I went into World War II the 1st of March until the 1st of January 1946.
So how old were you when you were drafted?
21.
Were you afraid to fight in the war? Why or why not?
Well, I was afraid. I was afraid to go to war, yeah. Afraid I might get shot. But I went to a non-combatant zone. I was in the Army Air Force at the place where the airplanes were housed, I guess you would say. But and by being there, I was more or less out of the actual war zone.
What was your life like what was your life like during this time?
Well, you can imagine being in the jungle most of the time. Our places where we lived in 4-man tents, and all they done was go in and clear coconut leaves and part of jungle materials out of the way and built a camp for it. And we moved several times moving up towards Japan.
Did you hate the enemy? Why or why not?
Oh, that's hard to answer, whether you hated the enemy, because I never did see the enemy. I knew that he was there because he was bombing us all the time.
What did you know about your enemies?
I knew what he was. I knew he was Japanese, and I knew that he bombed Pearl Harbor and killed 2,500 men, women, and children. What do you know what it was?
Oh, hold on. Did you know what you were fighting about?
Yes, that the Japanese invaded Pearl Harbor, and which was American territory, and that brought the declaration of war against Japan.
What was your impression of the other nations?
The only ones I knew about were the Japanese, and they were actually people. We thought they were mean and dirty fighters, but that was our opinion.
Did you support the war effort?
Had no choice.
Did you have an affair with European or Asian women?
Oh yes, 16 or 17 of them.
No. No. What really did you have?
I was married.
How many people do you remember being killed during your tour overseas? Tenure overseas?
I don't really remember that. I wasn't around too many because we was behind the lines.
So you never had to like shoot anyone or do any combat work, right?
I shot, but I don't know if I hit anybody.
What were your conditions like in Europe and Asia during the war? How different were these countries than the United States?
Completely different. We had no plumbing, tents for food. We went to a mess hall every day, and anytime it rained, we had problem. If we were bombed, then we had to get in what we called foxholes. Oh. So we had problems.
So what were these foxholes that you got into?
Foxholes? That was a place that we had dug out, put logs over the top of them and covered those with sand so that when they bombed us, we'd have a place to hide.
Okay. Did you have sympathy for the people you fought or their countries?
Not necessarily.
Okay. What did you think about President Roosevelt and his policies?
Behind him all the way.
You supported him. Awesome. Do you remember the end of the war, the bombing of Hiroshima or Nagasaki?
Yes, ma'am, I sure do. I was outside, you really want to hear this, outside sitting on a coconut log watching a movie when the movie was stopped and the sergeant came out on the platform where the movie was being shown, telling us that the Japanese had surrendered.
Awesome. Did you think the intermittent camps and the atomic bombing in Japan were racially motivated?
That was all a part of the war.
Did all or most Americans support the war during this time?
Yes, I think so.
So your family supported the war as well as you?
Yes.
Awesome. Did Europeans and South Pacific Islanders, Vietnamese, Filipinos, Koreans think of you and other Americans as heroes?
Well, I think some of them did, because we actually liberated their country from the Japanese, where did not treat the natives very kindly. And by the Japanese being fought by the Americans, that was the main thing, because that was mostly what was up there, just the Americans fighting the Japanese.
Who do you think was responsible for the war?
Japan?
Because they had bombed Pearl Harbor?
Yeah, yes.
What did you think about the end of the war? The origin of the Cold Wars? Anything about the Cold War?
The Cold War was, well as I remember, was brought on by Russia after it was all over with, after the main fighting was over with. The Cold War never ever had any hand-to-hand combat.
Was it America's responsibility to protect democracy in the world and save countries for the spread of communism?
I don't say it was their responsibility, but they didn't want this to spread all over the world.
They want communism to spread all over the world?
Yes.
Would you compare World War II... How would you compare World War II with later American wars?
Well, that's hard to compare, because as years advanced, the different types of warfare was manufactured, and so as wars went on, different wars went on, they had different types of equipment, much vastly improved at times.
So what do you think is the greatest strength and weakness of our current military today?
The atomic bomb.
Do you support other nations like India and Pakistan having nuclear bombs? Do you think that these countries should have these bombs?
I don't. I think the only reason we have nuclear bombs is protection to keep them from having them.
Why did September 11th happen? Who do you blame for this?
Terrorism, would be my guess. I don't really say that. All I know that it was terrorists that bombed the Twin South Towers, I guess, and Washington and the Pentagon.
Do you think there was a reason, like there was a way that they could have avoided this, or do you think it was just terrorists coming after our country? I
couldn't answer that. I don't know.
Okay, well, thank you for this interview, and I hope you have a great day.
Thank you, ma'am. I enjoyed having you come back to see us sometime.